from Colombian poverty to the godmother of cocaine, controlling a $2 billion empire. She grew up so poor in Colombia she became a pickpocket at age 11. By her 30s, she controlled 80% of the cocaine flowing into Miami, earning an estimated $2 billion. She pioneered drug trafficking methods cartels still use today and ordered over 200 murders. This is how Griselda Blanco became the most powerful female drug lord in history, the godmother of cocaine. Griselda Blanco didn't start with advantages. She was born into extreme poverty in Colombia, abandoned by her father, raised by an abusive alcoholic mother. But Blanco had something that terrified even male drug lords: absolute ruthlessness and innovative criminal genius. She pioneered smuggling techniques using lingerie with secret compartments, created the motorcycle assassination method, and built a cocaine empire that controlled Miami's drug trade in the 1970s and 1980s. Her methods were brutal, her ambition unlimited, and her legacy shaped modern drug trafficking. Griselda Blanco Restrepo was born on February 15, 1943, in Cartagena, Colombia. Her family was desperately poor. Her father abandoned the family when Griselda was young. Her mother, Ana Luce Restrepo, was an alcoholic who physically abused Griselda. The family lived in one of Cartagena's worst slums with no running water, electricity, or sanitation. When Griselda was 3 years old, her mother moved the family to Medellín, searching for work. They settled in a notorious slum neighborhood where poverty, violence, and crime were inescapable. Griselda grew up surrounded by criminals, prostitutes, and desperate people doing whatever necessary to survive. From earliest childhood, Griselda exhibited violent tendencies. Neighbors later recalled that she was aggressive, cruel to animals, and got into physical fights with both boys and girls. Her mother's abuse likely contributed to Griselda's violent nature. She learned that violence was how you survived. At age 11, Griselda became a pickpocket, working the streets of Medellín stealing wallets and jewelry from tourists and wealthy Colombians. She was good at it, small, quick, and fearless. But pickpocketing was just the beginning. At age 11 or 12, Griselda reportedly participated in her first kidnapping. According to later testimony, she and several older criminals kidnapped a young boy from a wealthy Medellín family, demanding ransom. When the family couldn't pay quickly enough, Griselda allegedly shot the boy herself. Whether this specific story is true remains disputed, but it established Griselda's reputation. She would kill without hesitation. By her early teens, Griselda was deeply involved in Medellín's criminal underworld. She worked as a pickpocket, participated in robberies, and allegedly worked as a prostitute briefly. She was surviving, but barely. At age 13 or 14, Griselda met Carlos Trujillo, a small-time document forger and criminal. Despite the age difference, Carlos was in his 20s. They began a relationship. Griselda became pregnant at 14. She and Carlos had 3 sons: Dixon, Uber, and Osvaldo. The marriage was violent. Carlos physically abused Griselda, who later claimed she shot and killed him in the early 1970s after one beating too many, though this was never proven. In her late teens and early 20s, Griselda worked various criminal schemes in Medellín: forgery, robbery, prostitution management. She was building connections in Colombia's criminal networks. She was smart, ruthless, and ambitious. She saw that the real money wasn't in petty crime, it was in drugs. In the 1960s, marijuana smuggling to the United States was becoming extremely profitable. Griselda recognized the opportunity. She started working with smugglers moving marijuana from Colombia to the US, initially in small quantities. She used her connections in Medellín's underworld to source product and find distributors. In the early 1970s, Griselda moved to New York City, settling in Queens. She brought her 3 sons with her. In New York, she expanded her operations, moving larger quantities of marijuana. But Griselda saw something bigger: cocaine. Cocaine in the early 1970s was relatively uncommon in America. It was expensive, associated with wealthy elites and celebrities. Most Americans used marijuana, heroin, or pills. But cocaine was about to explode in popularity, and Griselda positioned herself perfectly. Griselda established connections with Colombian cocaine producers, including associates of what would become the Medellín cartel. She started smuggling cocaine into New York using innovative methods. She recruited mules, people who would swallow cocaine-filled condoms or hide cocaine in luggage. She bribed airline employees and customs officials. But Griselda's breakthrough innovation was custom-designed lingerie and undergarments with secret compartments sewn into them. Women working for Griselda would wear these specially made brass panties and girdles filled with cocaine while flying from Colombia to the U.S. customs inspectors rarely searched women thoroughly, making this method highly effective. By the mid-1970s, Griselda was moving hundreds of kilograms of cocaine monthly into New York. Her operation was generating millions of dollars annually. She was ruthless with competitors and employees alike. Anyone who stole from her, cooperated with police, or threatened her operation was killed. Bodies of Griselda's victims started appearing across New York, shot execution style, often with additional brutality to send messages. Griselda also met Alberto Bravo, a cocaine trafficker with connections in Colombia. They became partners in business and life, though whether they formally married is unclear. Together, they expanded operations dramatically. By 1975, Griselda and Alberto were smuggling an estimated 150 to 200 kilograms of cocaine monthly into New York, generating approximately $8 to $10 million monthly revenue, about $45 to $55 million in 2024 dollars. But Griselda suspected Alberto was stealing from their operation. In 1975, she confronted him at a Bogotá nightclub. The confrontation turned violent. According to witness accounts, a shootout erupted. Alberto Bravo was killed, shot multiple times. Griselda was shot in the stomach but survived. Whether she killed Alberto herself or ordered his death remains debated, but she emerged as the sole controller of their empire. After Alberto's death, Griselda moved to Miami, Florida. In 1976 or 1977, Miami was perfect for cocaine trafficking, close to Colombia. Major international airport, large Colombian immigrant community, and wealthy customers. Griselda saw Miami as untapped territory where she could dominate. Griselda established a sophisticated cocaine distribution network in Miami. She imported cocaine hidden in shipments of flowers, coffee, and legitimate goods. She used the lingerie method with female mules. She bribed airline employees, customs officials, and police officers. She stored cocaine in secret compartments in homes and warehouses across Miami. By 1978-1979, Griselda controlled an estimated 80% of the cocaine entering Miami. Her organization was moving 1,500 to 2,000 kilograms, 3,300 to 4,400 pounds of cocaine monthly into South Florida, at wholesale prices of approximately $30,000 to $40,000 per kilogram. This generated $45 to $80 million monthly revenue, about $185 to $330 million monthly in 2024 dollars. Griselda's annual income at peak was estimated at $500 to $700 million, approximately $2 minus $2.8 billion in 2024 dollars. Conservative law enforcement estimates put her total wealth at $2 billion over her career. But controlling 80% of Miami's cocaine required extreme violence. Griselda pioneered the motorcycle assassination method that became standard for cartels. Assassins on motorcycles would pull alongside targets' cars and open fire with automatic weapons before speeding away. This method was fast, difficult to stop, and terrifying. Griselda ordered an estimated 200 to 250 murders over her career, though some estimates go higher. Her victims included rival drug dealers, employees who stole or cooperated with police, witnesses, informants, and anyone she perceived as threats. She killed men, women, and even children. In one infamous incident, she allegedly ordered the murder of a 2-year-old boy along with his father because the father owed her money. Griselda's violence wasn't just business. She seemed to enjoy it. Associates later testified that she personally tortured and killed people who crossed her. She reportedly kept a gold-plated submachine gun and enjoyed watching execution videos. The violence she unleashed transformed Miami. The late 1970s and early 1980s saw Miami's murder rate skyrocket. The Cocaine Cowboys era, named after the drug traffickers who operated with complete disregard for law, made Miami one of America's most dangerous cities. Bodies appeared regularly, many killed execution-style with automatic weapons. The Dadeland Mall Massacre in 1979, where cartel hitmen killed 2 people in broad daylight with automatic weapons, shocked America. Griselda lived lavishly during this period. She owned multiple homes in Miami and Colombia. She wore expensive jewelry and designer clothes. She drove luxury cars. She sent her sons to private schools. She was wealthy beyond measure, but paranoid and violent. Despite her violence and sophistication, law enforcement was building a case. The Drug Enforcement Administration, D, and Miami Police Department created special task forces targeting major traffickers. Griselda was a primary target. In 1984, DEA agents, using wiretaps and informant testimony, indicted Griselda Blanco on multiple federal drug trafficking charges. But Griselda had already fled to California, hiding in Irvine under a false identity. She lived quietly for a year, but DEA agents tracked her down. On February 18, 1985, DEA agents arrested Griselda at her Irvine home. She was 42 years old. Agents found weapons and evidence of her operations. She was extradited to Florida to face charges. The trial presented problems for prosecutors. Key witnesses were murdered or intimidated into silence. Griselda's violence had created a climate of fear where few would testify against her. But prosecutors found an unexpected witness, a secretary from the D office who had been having an affair with a Blanco associate and had inside knowledge of her operations. In 1985, Griselda was convicted on federal drug trafficking charges. She received a 15-year federal prison sentence. But that wasn't her only legal problem. While in federal prison, Griselda was charged in 1994 with 3 murders that occurred in Miami in 1982. These were the cocaine, cowboys murders, competitors shot execution style. Prosecutors had witnesses and evidence linking Griselda to ordering the hits. In 1998, after years of legal maneuvering, Griselda accepted a plea deal. She pleaded guilty to 3 counts of second-degree murder and received 20 years in prison to run concurrently with her remaining federal time. This plea deal was controversial. Many believed Griselda deserved far harsher punishment given the number of murders she'd ordered. Griselda served her time in various federal facilities. Prison staff noted she was a model prisoner, quiet, followed rules, and caused no trouble. The violent drug queen who terrorized Miami was docile behind bars. In 2004, after serving approximately 19 years in prison, including time served awaiting trial, Griselda Blanco was released and deported to Colombia. She was 61 years old. Her sons had been killed in drug-related violence. Dixon, Uber, and Osvaldo were all murdered between 1992 and 2010, victims of the same violence their mother had perpetuated. Griselda returned to Medellín, Colombia, in 2004. She lived quietly in a modest apartment, trying to avoid attention. Her fortune was largely gone, seized by governments, stolen by associates, or spent on legal fees. She received a small pension and lived simply. But Griselda's past caught up with her. On September 3, 2012, Griselda was shopping at a butcher shop in Medellín. 2 men on a motorcycle pulled up. The passenger fired 2 shots, hitting Griselda in the head. She died instantly at age 69. The assassination method was perfect irony, the motorcycle shooting technique Griselda herself had pioneered decades earlier was used to kill her. Whether her murder was revenge from old enemies, current cartel business, or random violence remains unknown. No one was ever arrested. Griselda Blanco's legacy is complex and dark. She pioneered drug trafficking methods still used today: the lingerie smuggling technique, motorcycle assassinations, bribing low-level employees for access, and using women as mules. Modern cartels use variations of these methods. She proved that women could succeed in male-dominated organized crime through intelligence and ruthlessness. But her success came from violence, addiction, and death. Her cocaine empire destroyed thousands of lives through addiction. Her violence killed hundreds directly and contributed to Miami's transformation into one of America's murder capitals. Griselda's story has been dramatized in multiple documentaries and a 2024 Netflix series, Griselda, starring Sofia Vergara. These productions have been criticized for glamorizing a murderous drug trafficker who destroyed lives and communities. The numbers tell the story of Griselda Blanco's criminal empire. At her peak from 1978 to 1984, she controlled an estimated 80% of cocaine entering Miami. Her operation moved 1,500 to 2,000 kilograms monthly. That's 3,300 to 4,400 pounds of pure cocaine every month for 6 years. At wholesale prices of $30,000 to $40,000 per kilogram, the price traffickers sold to distributors, Monthly revenue was $45 to $80 million. Annual revenue was approximately $500 to $700 million at peak, equivalent to $2 to $2.8 billion annually in 2024 dollars. Conservative law enforcement estimates place her total wealth accumulated over her career at $2 billion. Much of this was seized by governments, spent on legal fees, or stolen by associates. Her direct murder count, people she personally killed or directly ordered killed, is estimated at 200 to 250 people minimum. Some estimates go as high as 300. These weren't just rivals, they included employees, witnesses, informants, family members of enemies, and innocent bystanders including children. Her indirect impact through cocaine distribution and the violence her empire generated is incalculable. Thousands of people became addicted to cocaine she imported. The violence she normalized in Miami contributed to hundreds of additional murders during the cocaine cowboys era. 3 of her 4 sons were murdered in drug-related violence. Only her youngest son, Michael Corleone Blanco, named after the Godfather character, survived. He wrote a book about his mother and has attempted to profit from her notoriety through reality TV and merchandise, which has been criticized as commercializing violence. Griselda Blanco's story reveals uncomfortable truths about drug trafficking, violence, and criminal enterprise. She built a multi-billion-dollar empire through intelligence, innovation, and absolute ruthlessness. She proved that gender was no barrier to organized crime leadership when combined with willingness to use extreme violence. But her success was built entirely on destruction. Every dollar she earned came from addiction, violence, or corruption. Her cocaine destroyed families through addiction. Her violence killed hundreds. Her corruption undermined legitimate institutions. She contributed nothing positive to society. The glamorization of Griselda in media is controversial. Some argue her story shows how poverty and abuse create criminals. Others argue that presenting her as a powerful female figure ignores that her power came from murder and addiction. The 2024 Netflix series, Griselda, faced criticism for potentially glorifying a mass murderer. Griselda's methods influenced modern cartels. Mexican cartels use variations of her motorcycle assassination technique. Smugglers still use female mules with hidden compartments. The corruption strategies she pioneered, bribing low-level employees rather than high-level officials, remained standard practice. But cartels learn from her mistakes too. Modern cartel leaders avoid the flashy lifestyle and extreme public violence that brought law enforcement attention to Griselda. They operate more carefully, understanding that her fall came partly from being too visible and too violent. Griselda Blanco grew up in Colombian slums so poor she became a pickpocket at age 11. Through intelligence, innovation, and ruthless violence, she built a cocaine empire that controlled 80% of Miami's drug trade and generated an estimated $2 billion over her career. She pioneered smuggling and assassination techniques cartels still use today. But her empire was built on addiction and murder. She ordered an estimated 200 to 250 killings. Her cocaine destroyed thousands of lives. Her violence terrorized Miami and contributed to hundreds of additional deaths. 3 of her 4 sons were murdered in the drug trade she helped build. She died the way she lived, shot by assassins on a motorcycle using the exact method she'd pioneered decades earlier. The woman who'd built an empire through violence was killed by that same violence at age 69 in a Medellín butcher shop. Griselda Blanco proved that ruthlessness and innovation can build criminal empires. But her legacy is destruction, addiction, and death. Her story isn't one of success. It's a cautionary tale about how violence and crime ultimately destroy everyone involved, including the architects of that violence.